I need you, my darling. Yes, I need you, my darling. Funeka seleske rapa hle. Oh. Bonolo. Hi, my name is Bonolo Takhudi, and welcome to the first episode of Being Me. Bonolo. Bubbly, loving, crazy, charismatic. That's how I would describe myself. Very talkative, very lively, but also very sensitive. Yeah, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a aunt, I'm a girlfriend, production coordinator, I'm a friend. Yeah. I grew up in the Val, as most of you probably know. I am the last born. I am the last born of 3. I have an older sister. I'm sure Osama Tabo 40, you know. I'm kidding. I think my sister's 36. Yeah. Then daddy. Oh, daddy's turning 30. And I am 25. Well, I'm turning 25. Yeah, life was good, man. Ben Opa Sebele Takhudi. Boast, we call him Boast. My dad used to push. He had a construction company. He really tried his level best to make sure that everything was fine at home. And yeah, and my mom as well. She's always been a strong woman. She's always been like working. She was very independent. So yeah, my dad passed away when I was 14, which is grade 8. From that year until now, I've just been raised by a single mom. And yeah, she did a really good job. Lamutaba makes the girl. But yeah. I remember when it happened, it was the 9th of August in 2009. He was sick. He had diabetes. So when he passed away, it was like, okay, sharp. But I don't think it really affected me till later in life, you know. My mom really tried her best to make sure that things went, like, life carried on. She had to be there for all of us and herself, and it took a lot out of her. But I understand now, like, my mom is just my hero, guys. I don't know how to say it, but she's just, woo, she's a lot. Like, I was such a daddy's girl, guys. I was such a daddy's girl. Woo! And we'd have movie nights and we'd sleep together. Like, guys, like, my dad was like, you go to your mom. She's like, no, Brunhard, yeah. Bye-bye. I was very close to my dad. I hadn't understood what it is that I was losing until later on in life. I was able to live life. Like, everything happens for a reason and God knows best, I've always been a believer of such. So it only affected me 5 years later when I actually went to varsity and life had to begin. Daddy issues. It's like a small box within yourself that would be filled by the presence of a father or a father figure. But because they are not there, it's empty. I think the stigma comes from women thinking that they can fill that box through other things and other people. Yes. Like I said, I only started seeing how much my father's death affected me after 5 years. When I was in first year and I was no longer covered by my mom and I no longer had the people around me that I love and trust, and I was on my own. There was a time in my life in second year where I could not. I was dying, guys. I was hanging on a thread, finished, dismantled, undone. And the only thing I could think about was, if he was here, I would not be feeling this way. I had to protect myself. I had to do everything myself. I had to run to myself. It was so difficult for me. I was a late bloomer, So when it came to dating and guys and whatnot, I didn't really care. Like, oh, he's cute. when he comes close, you're like, no, where you going? I wasn't saying come. Around second year, that's when I started realizing, oh, how I look matters, how I speak matters, what I say matters, how I act matters. I found myself in a time where I was trying to be myself, but also trying to be everybody else. How dang it's Lauduba. It is draining. It is tough out here. Are you strong enough to say this is who I am and I'm not gonna shift? And if you're not going to say no to certain things, you will lose yourself. I was blessed enough to be able to say, but in me saying don't think it was an easy decision. I had to be really strong and I had to figure myself out. But some things I just found myself asking myself, God, why? In those moments I could just call my dad, or I could be with him, being loved unconditionally and being taught what genuine love is. You find yourself in, what do I do? Do I not? You know what I mean? And it was very difficult for me. And I always asked myself, God, why? Why me? Like, if it was here, it was not going to be so difficult. He would say, I would have seen, I would have heard, I would have known. And it was so tough, guys. It was so, so tough. Yeah. So it did kind of affect my mental health in terms of how I looked at myself and how I handle certain situations and certain relationships. But it's something that I'm learning each and every day to handle and to be better at, So, yeah. The difficulties that I had to face are just like the ones that I talked about now. I had to learn how to be very strong in my decisions of saying no. I had to learn what the difference is between somebody who loves you and somebody who's taking advantage of you. I had to also learn the difference in me caring about somebody and me caring about somebody because I feel like they're going to fill a void that I have, It's not healthy at all to want to fill a gap with people, with strangers, guys. At the end of the day, these people that we meet are strangers in the beginning. I crave being lazy and being just protected and just having that feeling of, even if I would crash my car, he'll fix it. Because my mom's just gonna tell me, you better save up money and make a plan. You know what I mean? Like, just being that daddy's girl, like, that's my biggest difficulty. I just want to feel like you know what I mean? Like, I genuinely just I genuinely just feel like that's what I miss the most. I had to be so strong. I had to be so, the person that I am, bubbly. I've always been like that, whatever, but I had to also use it as a cover-up for whatever it is that I might be feeling, or, I had to be super strong, guys. And I know for a fact that if my dad was around, I was going to be so lazy. Life would have been more like, okay, I can't do it, he'll do it, I would have been the most vulnerable. Now it's difficult to be vulnerable because you don't know who's got what kind of intentions for you. So if it's your dad, you know that all they want is the best for you. So even if you cry at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're not going to laugh at you tomorrow, Even if you feel like, oh my gosh, I want to die, why is this so hard? They're not going to, they're going to motivate you, and they're not going to keep it against you. Like, your parents will never hold anything against you, guys. Anything. I think that's what's the most difficult for me, being vulnerable. I can't be too vulnerable with people that I don't know if they're going to still be there tomorrow or not. So, yeah. I cry. Like, I'm always laughing. But when I'm alone, I cry, I cry. I remember there was a time where I was just so undone and I was crying and Max was around. We've got the same character in terms of like... But I was so undone and I cried, and then she was there and she's like, you see how old I am? I'm 60, but I still cry for my father. So it's okay. And ever since she said that, I cry. Also, what I try to do is that I try and reflect. For instance, let's say I'm in a relationship, I say things out of anger, or I want things that are just like, what do you mean? I try to reflect as much as I can. Was that coming from Bonolo, or was that coming from Bonolo with an empty box? You know what I mean? There's only one human being who will ever fill that box, and Hasaleyo. So Asintoloring will ever end. It's just about coping with it. There's so many of us out here, and they there's people who will never show their pain, and I'm one of those. But I was like, you know what? Screw everyone. One thing that I want anybody in my situation to know is that it's okay, it's normal, it happens, it will continue to happen. Some days are gonna be hard, some days are gonna be easier, some days you're gonna miss him, some days you're gonna be like so mad at him for not being around, some days you're just gonna be happy because you're like, oh, if I not hana. Don't be too hard on yourself. Talk about it, cry about it, scream, shout, whatever you do, express it, and don't prolong it. Deal with the pain. Small steps to progress, yeah. Don't forget to comment, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more good vibes. This is Bonaro Takhudi, and this is Being Me. Bye.